Go ahead for Matt Painter, please.
Yeah, hey, Matt. Jaden said that he sensed a very distinct energy from your team prior to the game, and Travion said the same thing about the whole week of practice. Did you see this week your team building to a performance like this?
I thought we had a good practice. We had a couple of days off too, and I think late in the year, anytime you can have a couple of days off, it helps you. And you normally don't have the schedule to be able to do it, but we tried not to go as long, even though they might not agree with that. But no, I thought our guys played well. I thought we were ready to play. Sometimes you're ready to play, then the ball just doesn't go in, but we're able to make some plays, and it was great to see.
Why was the offense so effective? What was really clicking from an offensive perspective? Because you really kind of had a role in there in the first half. Especially.
Yeah, well, we thought they would double the post, right away, and they didn't. So we got some baskets at the rim. We got some post ups, but we also got them in rotations and played off our defense and got in transition and scored the ball. So I think just the balance of all those different ways to score the ball. We knew how athletic they were. We knew how they would, play the passing lanes and gamble and rotate a lot. So, we just had to be under control and move the basketball, drive the basketball, and just make the next play, for each other. And I thought our guys did a good job of that.
Did you want them being as aggressive as they were denying the wing, denying the catches, challenging passing lanes? Obviously, you had a lot of success generating turnovers and turning that into offense. Was that by design, or were they just –
Yeah, we just didn't want them to be able to kick the ball ahead in transition. Isaiah and Eric did a good job of getting to their point guard. And then we just didn't want those early passes and offense going straight to the wing, and then they get right into what they want. And so it happened a couple times early. And then after that, our guys did a pretty good job. I'm just making it difficult. It wasn't like we were denying a bunch of passes, but we did deny enough. And they were careless. And we're able to get into transition and, get to the free throw line and score the ball.
Why'd you go back to Sasha with the starting five?
Or just, it's one of those things where I thought before he was just so steady, for us. And it just wasn't something when he was going to come back from watching a lot of other people across the country when they've had to sit out for 2.5 weeks. Just let him get, his legs under him and kind of bring him back gradually. And, I think we were able to do that. And then thought he played, really well, obviously, in the Nebraska game. And, he just balances things out for us. He's just steady. And, I thought it was the best move. And when you make those decisions, a lot of times it's, you go back and forth as a coach, who should play, who should not play at times. But it's a good problem to have when you got more than 5 people who can start. It means you got a good team.
You always say that when you make moves like this, you want it to benefit the guy who's starting, but also the guy who's no longer starting. Mm-hmm. What's your message to Brandon about this, and how can this help him?
Well, obviously today he got into foul trouble like a lot of other guys. We had, I think, 4 guys with 2 fouls in the first half, so that probably hindered him more than anything in terms of just getting into a rhythm of the game and being able to play. He got those 2 fouls, and so there's no message. We have a good team. We have a lot of guys that can play. We have a lot of guys that could start. There's a lot of people on our bench who have sacrificed for our team to win, and that's part of sacrificing and just trying to grow into it. Doesn't mean anything's permanent. But if people came here to play and just start games, they came to the wrong program. They came here to win, and at times you got to be able to come off the bench or play less minutes to help your team win. You don't want to because you're competitive. And you want to be out there all the time. But he's had a good year for us. But it's one of those things where, now he's just going to have to adjust a little bit coming off the bench because it's something he hasn't gone through. As a player, a lot of people have gone through that. He started every game for us this year. And so now he's going to have to get himself, mentally ready. And there is an adjustment. There is an adjustment when you go from starting to coming off the bench and vice versa.
Good. Thanks, Mike.
No problem.
Mike?
Yeah, Matt, that sequence at the end of the first half where your defense kind of took over, how gratifying was that to see that all spurred by what you guys were doing on the defensive end?
Yeah, it was great. Those guys got in the passing lanes, made some plays, were able to attack. Jaden had a huge block there at the end. It looks like they were going to get a sure 2. And then we did a good job, even though we went a little bit too early on our play when we threw the lob to Zach. he still did a really good job. It was a great pass of executing it and getting it, getting the ball, above the defense and Zach dunking it. So it was great. It was great. Anytime you can get on the glass and score the basketball and steal points or use your defense to generate offense, it helps you. And obviously we were able to generate some offense through our defense in that sequence.
You've mentioned a couple times you want to be peaking at the end of the year. Is this a sign of your team peaking?
Sure. We played well. I thought in the second half of Nebraska, we played well. I thought we played well tonight. It's a team game. And you talked about that spurt there in the end of the first half. There's a lot of people that were in the game that come off the bench for us. And those guys really, played well when we were in foul trouble. And that's what it's about. And having guys step up. But yeah, you want to keep building. This was, our third win in a row. And, we want to continue winning ways, but we know the next game we have against Wisconsin is going to be a really tough one.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
Anyone else from Matt Painter?
I've got one for Matt.
Yep, go ahead.
Yesterday, obviously, you talked a lot about just the rebounding situation being a emphasis, and they went from 23 offensive rebounds last game to their starting 5 tonight, 0 offensive rebounds.
Yep.
I mean, it's got to feel good to take that point of emphasis and then see it come play out, right?
Yeah, that was great, and it was a big part of the game. And obviously, they got a lot of opportunities the first time we played, and then tonight, they did. And I thought, Travion, Zach, those guys did a much better job of boxing out and keeping Hurrah off the glass. But just a total team effort. I thought we did a great job of rebounding. It's such a big part of the game, no matter who you play. But it was definitely great to see the response we had after we struggled against them the first game.
And how much does it help this time of year? I know you mentioned at the beginning, but how much does it help just to have had that 5 or 6 day stretch to kind of catch your breath a little bit and just kind of everybody get re-energized?
Yeah, no question. It'll help us tomorrow. We're not going to practice tomorrow. We're not going to practice on Wednesday. And so for us, we were going to have, 3 days off this week. Then the following week, we'll have a day off in the middle of the week. And so I think continue to have those days to recharge your batteries and using those days, as a positive and getting yourself ready, whether it's treatment or, getting extra shooting in and just being mentally and physically ready to play the next game.
How does it feel to know you get on a plane now and you don't leave the state of Indiana again now the rest of the year?
It's a great feeling. It's a great feeling. Anytime you can, play home games and not travel. And obviously the NCAA tournament, the Big Ten tournament is going to be in Indianapolis. It's a great feeling. You still got to go out there and win
them. Anyone else?
Yeah, just a couple, Coach, if you don't mind.
Go ahead.
So tonight you had 18 points off the bench and your guys were really firing all cylinders. So how deep do you think this depth of this roster can go in coming into the Big Ten tournament next week?
Yeah. Well, we've played, 10 people outside of when Sasha was out or Eric and Jaden. So, obviously we will stick with that and keep going. I think the one thing about establishing depth, and you saw it tonight when we got into some foul trouble, those guys off the bench has played, a lot of minutes throughout the year and have a lot of experience, and they're able to step up and play. So I think it's an important piece going forward.
And then last thing, this is this team's largest win at Penn State since 2008. Does that feel good to walk home with a little accomplishment? Or are you just happy with the win overall?
Just happy to get a win. Obviously we were able to get a lead and keep the lead throughout the game. I think that's always positive because it's tough to do against quality teams like Penn State, and it's tough to do on the road. And our guys were able to maintain that lead and then push it out in the second half. And I think it was great to see. We've had a lot of close games, overtime games here at Penn State and through the years, and we've been fortunate to win some of those. But yeah, it's great to have a win like that.
Thank you for your time.